Hello everyone, my name is Financial Charles. Welcome back to another Bitcoin video. Today is August 22nd of 2023 and the price of Bitcoin is currently $25,798. So it continues to drop from where it has been, and this is looking really good to me. I see these red candles as obviously a big buying opportunity, so I hope it continues to stay down, and perhaps over the next couple months it can continue to bleed more, so that way we can accumulate more sats for our dollars. So I'm very excited to see where Bitcoin is at right now, and I cannot wait for Friday to come by, so that way I can use my paycheck to lump sum everything and buy these really cheap sats at below $26,000. But today I wanted to just bring up this Reddit post. This is kind of a follow-up post to my from yesterday's video, and this, I think, in this Reddit post, it describes really briefly and much more to the point what I was trying to explain yesterday about being the top 1% in terms of Bitcoin. But I posted this on Reddit, and I'm going to review the comments that were being said, so I can really explain. There's just some arguments in the comments, and I just wanted to address them. So before we get to there, let me go ahead and just review this Reddit post. I pretty much said if every single one of us hold our coins and we never sell again, we can all be in the top 1% of humans in Bitcoin terms. And this is because there are 75 million people in the top 1%, and there are only 50 million Bitcoin addresses. And right now we're assuming that one person holds each Bitcoin address, so there's 50 million people. But as we know, in real terms, this is not true because, even me, I have multiple Bitcoin wallets. So I'm not just one in 50 million, I'm multiple in 50 million. And there are also exchange wallets in here in which a lot of people hold their coins in that one wallet. So that's many people being represented by one wallet. But the thing is, those people that hold the coins on their exchange, they don't have any coins to begin with because it's not your keys, not your coins. If it's not your own personal wallet, it is not your coins. So if your coins are on the Coinbase wallet instead of your own personal Bitcoin wallet, you don't have any Bitcoin as far as I'm concerned. So those Coinbase wallets, I'm just going to assume that one person controls the Coinbase wallet. And there are currently 19.5 million coins in circulation, which means that there are only 1.5 million remaining coins to be mined over these next 120 years up until the year 2040. There's 1.5 million coins left, and if we assume that the 50 million Bitcoin addresses they just hold forever, that means the remaining 7,450,000,000 humans, they all have to fight over the remaining 1.5 million coins that get mined over the course of the next 120 years. So this would only leave enough coins for each person to hold 0.0002 coins each. So the first comment that we have here is it stops being money in that case. And I thought this guy right here, Superfly, he has some pretty good points here. And where he talks about the use case of money is to transmit value across both space and time. Using it to store value is using it as money, and I couldn't agree anymore. A lot of people, they try to argue that, well, if you never spend your Bitcoin, then it can never be money. It would never be, it would be useless. It would be worthless because no one is actually using it. But in reality, I think one of the big use cases is to store value for the future. So the idea with Bitcoin is you work today and you receive economic energy. And Bitcoin is a way to store that economic energy so you can take that economic energy into the future. So that way you can use it in the future for whatever you need. You can't really do that in terms of US dollars, because if you did $100 of work today and you just stored it in your US dollar, if you store it in US dollars and then you fast forward 30 years, you are no longer able to buy. So you'll still have the $30, but you're not going to be able to purchase $30 worth of goods in terms of what $30 was in. Oh, what the fuck? Did I just say $30? I meant $100. Damn it. Anyway, if you make 30, if why do I keep fucking saying $30? If you make $100 today, in 30 years, when you spend that $100, that $100 buys you a lot less than what the $100 will buy you today. That's what I'm trying to say. So in terms of buying a house, you can take home $50,000 a year each year, right? $50,000 in your pocket, let's say. So let's say that's after tax. So you're probably making maybe $83,000 before tax, right? Your salary is $83,000. At the end of the year, you're able to save up $50,000. And in order to buy a $1 million home, you have to save up for 20 years straight. But the time the 20 years comes, that $1 million home is no longer $1 million. It is probably now worth $2 million. And now you're just as far away as you were. Now you have to work another 20 years to get that $2 million home. So obviously you cannot. The U.S. dollar is not a good, vehicle to park your economic energy, because the economic energy is slowly bleeding away over time due to the Federal Reserve continuously printing money. So the U.S. dollar is simply an ice cube. It's a melting ice cube. Whereas with Bitcoin, you can buy one Bitcoin today, and in 30 years, you can buy one Bitcoin worth of things. But Bitcoin becomes more valuable over time because it is fixed. The supply is fixed, and people, if anything, people are prone to losing their coins over time due to forgetting their passphrase or their seed phrase, or misplacing their wallet or something like that. So Bitcoin is a way where we can all, doesn't matter what socioeconomic status you are in, you can be very rich, you can be very poor. Bitcoin is for everyone. And when you put your money into Bitcoin and you store your economic energy in Bitcoin, it remains the same. So if we were to assume that the U.S. dollar, that the U.S. dollar system is just one big pie, and you slice it up in 8 pieces, right? And you slice up your piece of the pie, so you have 1/8 of the pie. The thing is, they keep creating more pies. The pie gets, they inflate up, they print more and more dollars. So now the total amount of dollars, before you used to have 1/8 of the amount of dollars in circulation, and if they print double the money, now you're holding is 1/16 of the pie, if that makes sense. So when they inflate dollars and you own 1/8 of the circulating supply, and they double the supply of the dollars, you no longer own 1/8 of the system, you now own 1/16 of the system. So the amount of money that you are holding in comparison to the money in the world is less and less and less. Whereas with Bitcoin, since there's only 21 million forever, when you own a piece of that pie, when you own 121 millionth of the pie, and then you fast forward into the future, there's no one printing more Bitcoin. So you're never going to have, if you hold that one Bitcoin forever, you're not going to find a situation in which now you are 1 in 42 millionth of, it will always be 1 in 21 millionth. And that's such a big deal. And the reason that you need to be holding, as much Bitcoin as you can for as long as you can is because the Bitcoin pie continues to grow for everyone that is in the system. So if we were to assume that all value in the world piles into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is the new store of value, and it's the one indestructible asset that all other assets are backed by, then you can say that you have, if you're a whole coiner, you have one coin, you can say that you have 1/21 millionth of the whole entire world's economic energy. And if we assume that as time goes on, the economy becomes more and more valuable because people, they contribute more, and, technology advances and all that stuff, you could, if economic energy grows and the world becomes more valuable over time, then you benefit. You benefit because you own 121 millionth of all economic energy. And if everyone in the world continues to produce more and more for the world, the economic energy increases for you. So this is a system in which, if everyone holds Bitcoin and, the harder people work, the harder other people work, the whole world benefits. The more people save and invest in Bitcoin, the whole entire world benefits. So it's a way of, benefiting from other people's work. It's almost like it's uniting all of humanity to work together and improve civilization and improve humanity and all that. And all humans that are involved in Bitcoin will benefit from this. So I think, that's really important. And another thing that I wanted to just briefly talk about, I don't know how long this video is, but and I did mess up earlier, but I really don't want to just start over and do this again. But there's a video that I was watching today from Bitcoin University. Matthew Crowder from Bitcoin University, he was talking about Bitcoin and CPI today. Let me just pull it up. Bitcoin University. Here it is. And one of the interesting points he was bringing up was how CPI is very inaccurate because they continuously change the definition of what CPI is. And another thing is, in order to hide real-time inflation from everyone, they exclude certain things from the CPI, so that way they can claim that that inflation is only 2%. But in reality, as we've seen from one of the Michael Saylor charts, real inflation is actually over 7%. So and that proves that the S&P 500 only grows due to more dollars in circulation, other than fundamentals of the companies improving. But let's think about this real quick. Like, one of the points that he was saying in this video was, our grandfathers, they ate grass-fed steak, right? So this is something that you cannot see in the CPI. Our grandfathers ate grass-fed steak. Our fathers ate grass-fed... Okay, no. Let me start over. Our grandfathers ate grass-fed steak from the farm. And then our fathers, they ate grass-fed ground beef from the grocery store. Now, what we are eating factory chicken. And then when we have kids, our kids, they're going to be eating factory sludge, such as Beyond Meat. And it's so true. If you look about what the mainstream media tries to push, they try to push like plant-based alternatives, and they try to talk it up like it's so good and everything. But in reality, the quality of food that we're eating is like worse and worse with each generation. And I have some older coworkers. I asked them about McDonald's back in the day, and they say like not only did the prices increase, and that's the only thing that CPI is taking into consideration, the increase in price of goods and stuff. But you also have to realize that the goods themselves, they become lower and lower quality as time goes on. So I was told that when McDonald's was first, starting, the burgers were big. And if you compare it to today's burgers from McDonald's, today's burgers from McDonald's are minuscule. And I thought I noticed the same thing too, because 20 years ago, I could have sworn that those McDonald's burgers were pretty darn big, but nowadays they're so tiny. Even the Big Macs, they're tiny. And I promise that's probably going to continue going on as time goes on. And even Chipotle, 10, 15 years ago, I remember being like 10 years old, and this Chipotle was so big, I had to save 2/3 of it. I was only able to eat 1/3 and save 2/3 of it later. And nowadays, they only fill up the bowl like halfway, and I can finish a whole Chipotle bowl in one sitting. So the portions that we get are smaller and smaller. The quality of food that we're getting is smaller and smaller, and the worst thing is like the propaganda that the mainstream media, they're trying to feed us, that these plant alternatives are better, they're this, they're that, but in reality you're just feeding us factory sludge, so that way you don't have to put in the work to give us quality food. You're just giving us some science experiment, and it's cheaper for you to make and all that, but you're giving us just terrible food, and it'll continue to go on. And another thing is like we can see this in buildings too. So this was inspired by another Bitcoin University video that I saw from a long time ago when he was still Trader University. He talks about the difference between buildings like this that was created on a gold standard. This is the Sistine Chapel, and this was created when the world was on a gold standard, when there was hard money backing everyone's economic energy. And this is this is a fiat. This is a building made in the fiat standard. And this is what all buildings kind of look like. It's like some cookie cutter type stuff, and you can tell that this wasn't built for the long term. This was built in order to just make a quick buck. Whereas like something like the Sistine Chapel, this is elegant, and it's lasted hundreds and hundreds of years, and it will continue to last hundreds and hundreds of years. This is really a work of art. Whereas this is designed to be destroyed once its purpose is no longer being, once it can no longer execute its purpose, it will be demolished and then replaced with a new. Like, you know what I mean? It's such a high time preference. That's what they call it. It's a high time preference where they want it now. They want to benefit now instead of delaying gratification for the future. This is a low time preference where, the people that they make this, they understand that there's future generations that would like to see this. Whereas when you build something like this, you're building it because you don't care what's going to happen in 100 years because you're going to be dead anyway. And a lot of people nowadays, that's exactly the type of mentality they have. When people like throw away garbage on the street, it's like they don't care about global warming because it's not going to affect them because they're going to be dead by then. It's a very selfish type of way of thinking, and that's the type of thinking that would eventually lead to humanity's extinction. Whereas when you build something like this is thinking long term for the future. This is thinking past your life. You're thinking for your kids, for your legacy, And this is exactly what Bitcoin is. Even if we don't benefit too much in our lifetime, which is probably not going to be true, I really do think that, Bitcoin will continue to benefit us throughout our lives. It's already benefiting us right now, and it's already been benefiting us ever since over here, ever since way back here. Bitcoin has been great. Bitcoin is great, and, we're going to continue seeing it improve the world, but this is some very low time preference things right here, and I'll make a video about low time preference in the future. But when you accumulate Bitcoin and you plan to hold forever and never sell, we're doing this for the future generation. So if you have a future generation of kids, you can pass this down to them, and it's going to be a lot more valuable in their time than it is in our time. But the idea is to teach your future generations to continue to hold, because this is your key to not only living a good life for yourself, but you're going to start an empire, like, long after you're gone, That's just how it works. Like, all these families in power, they've been in power for a long time, and this is your chance to start, your dynasty. This is you buying and holding Bitcoin forever at these prices. This is your chance to start, your legacy and have your family name be, of big importance. But yeah, I mean, a little bit of a unorganized video today, but I'm going to upload it anyway. I don't really care, because I will just make another Bitcoin video tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. So we are going to continue making Bitcoin videos all throughout this bear market, if you even consider this a bear market still. But, if it keeps going down, perhaps we can continue calling it a bear market. I do think we're going to go down even more and more and more. In terms of going down to 15,000, I don't think we're going to do that. But if we do, then that is the opportunity of a lifetime, because that means to be 1 in 21 million, you only have to buy $15,000 worth of Bitcoin. But I'm going to assume that that's not going to happen. But I'm also mentally prepared for it to happen. If it goes down to 10K, then, you should max out your credit cards and buy some Bitcoin at that point, because that's astronomically low. But, imagine... if 15K, if half of 30K is 15K, then I really don't think that we will be losing more than half of our money. So if you have $50,000 in Bitcoin right now as we speak, then I do not think you will lose $25,000. I don't think you will, because I don't think it's going to go down to, well, half of 25 is what, 12.5. I do not think Bitcoin is going to 12.5. I simply do not. But if we do go to 12.5, then it is a super duper blessing, and we need to accumulate as much as possible. But yeah, I will make another video in the tomorrow. I'll see you guys later. Please like and subscribe.